Am I the butthole for shouting at my friend for showing off using my child? I 35F have a friend group of 5 women including me. We are all the same age and we have been friends since we were 13. 4 of us, me included, have kids, with my 5-week-old son being the youngest. The 5th friend, Emily, fake name, doesn't have kids and hasn't really ever been in a relationship that lasted longer than a couple of weeks. Emily works in a daycare center and has been working there for over 10 years. Nowadays she mainly does admin work, but sometimes covers shifts if someone is sick. So she has a lot of experience with kids even though she doesn't have any herself. The problem with Emily is that she likes to make it known how good she is with kids. So whenever we spend time together as a group with our kids, she acts like she knows best when it comes to kids. For example, if a kid is having a tantrum, she will insert herself in the situation instead of letting the mom take care of it. Or if a child is doing something it shouldn't, like eating too much candy, Emily will tell the child, "Don't listen to mommy. Auntie Emily says it's fine." She also does this at bigger gatherings, showing off her superior skills with kids while making us look like we don't know anything. I've talked about this with the other moms and they find it annoying as well. We thought about saying something, but we agreed that taking care of children is such a big part of Emily's identity that it would really hurt her. On to the problem at hand. Couple of days ago, we were hanging out again. Emily asked if she could hold my son and I said yes. A little later, the baby started to cry. I went over and tried to take him back. Emily wouldn't let me and kept saying she knows how to do it and tries rocking the baby. I knew my son was hungry, so no amount of rocking was going to stop him from crying. I asked Emily again just to give me the baby and she again refused. I was getting upset and asked again, and she just kept saying that she knows how to take care of a baby. I said I know, but I need to take my baby. I was about to blow, but she had my son in her arms, so I didn't want to upset her. Suddenly she tried to take the baby to the other room, but I stopped her and almost forcefully took my son from her. I was seething, and once I had set my son down, I let it all out. I shouted at her that she has no right to keep me from my child, and that even with all her experience she can't go over me when it comes to my child. I also told her that I'm sick of her trying to show off her skills using my child. She was really upset and left shortly after. I don't think anything I said was wrong, but am I the butthole for shouting at her? My friends think it's something she needed to hear, but going off on her like that might have been too much. Update. Thank you all for your comments. I was happy to see that I wasn't completely out of line with my outburst, but I agree that the way we had been handling or not handling the situation wasn't good. We tried contacting Emily right after that incident, but she just messaged our group chat that she was busy and she'll get back to us. I managed to get hold of her after the post and invited her to have coffee at my place on Sunday. We met with one other friend from the group. We thought having all of us there might be too much pressure. My husband took the baby to see my in-laws, so he wasn't there. It was a bit awkward and didn't get better. I started by apologizing for shouting at her, but told her that keeping my child from me wasn't acceptable behavior from anyone. I told her that we know that she is good with kids and the kids like Auntie Emily very much, but sometimes she oversteps and gets in the way of how we want to parent our children. My friend gave a couple of examples of the situations, but Emily refused to see any problem with her behavior. Emily got really defensive and told us that we are really ungrateful for all the help she has given, and she has put so much effort into kids that aren't even hers. I told her that of course we are grateful for the help, and all we need is for her to be a bit more mindful in certain situations. She doubled down on nothing being wrong about the way she acts. She also started getting nasty about our parenting and bringing up things that we did wrong. I know myself and my friends sometimes make mistakes, as do all parents, but my friends are great moms who love their kids and would do anything for them. Then she got really angry and told me that I don't deserve my child as I didn't even want him. Background to this was that I was hesitant to keep my child when I found out I was pregnant, since I had had some mental health issues and I was really scared that I would get PPD and might not handle taking care of a baby. I'm so happy that I decided to have him, but it was tough back then, even with my husband being really supportive. That was the final straw, and I kicked her out and told her she will never be allowed around my child. After she left, we called the others and told them what happened. We decided that we would take a step back from Emily for now. Emily has since blocked all of us on everything. One of our other mutual friends told us that Emily has been making Facebook posts about fake friends who don't appreciate her help and advice. She's not naming names, but everyone knows she's talking about us. Most people have seen her in action at get-togethers, so they understand where we're coming from. For now, we are keeping our distance, and maybe if she realizes the problem and apologizes, then we might reconsider. Next story. I destroyed my ex-boyfriend's Lego sets and gave him 1 week to move out after he threw away my teddy bear. I 24F have been living with my 25M, now ex-boyfriend, for about 8 months now. I have a teddy bear that my grandmother gave to me when I was younger. It has no monetary alum, but the sentimental value is more important. When I was 8, she gave it to me while she was struggling with cancer. It was stage 4 and spread quickly, and there was nothing they could do. She gave me a teddy bear and told me to take care of it, and I could talk to the teddy bear whenever I missed her. She got one of those talking mics put in it, and it would say, "I hope you're feeling love today because I love you more than all the stars in the sky and all the fish in the sea, and you mean the world to me." She would say that all time when I would spend the night. He knows how much it means to me, I told him. He's seen me hugging the bear and sitting outside to talk to my grandma when I was sad or just needed to vent without judgment or even a response. 2 days ago, he decided that it was raggedy and not appealing to look at. I can admit, Bear has been through it. I carried it around with me everywhere for 2 years. He would go in my book bag when I went to school, went to dance class with me. He even went out of town when I had cheer meets when I got into high school. My cousin pulled out one of his eyes when I was 10, and he's missing an arm when my brother got mad at me and cut it off. It was sewn back on and then ripped off again. You get it. But he was mine. I found a button that was exactly like his from some bear at a Goodwill and was going to sew it in his eye. I went to my room. We have separate bedrooms. I can decorate my space how I want and have my workspace, and the same for him. But we always sleep together. I just never had my own room and have only been living alone for 2 years, so I want to keep that for a while. I went in there to do it, and he wasn't on my bed. I went scouring for him for hours, and he watched me. I started to cry because that was the last thing she gave me and she made special for me. He finally told me he threw it away because it was disgusting and he hated coming in my room and seeing it. I got so mad and I felt so betrayed. He likes to spend time on Legos and building them. He's built the Eiffel Tower, the Harry Potter Tower, a cherry blossom tree, and dozens of other. I went to his room and I destroyed them all. I threw the pieces around the room and out the window and in the garbage. He came in screaming at me and saying how dare I touch his things he bought with his money, and he spent hours on it. I told him he can GTFO and spend hours rebuilding it someplace else because I'm done with him. He started telling me I was overreacting and whatever else. I forget a lot of the argument because I was pissed. I told him he had 1 week to get his things out and move out, but he wasn't staying here while it happened. He started telling me that I couldn't do that and he paid bills. I told him I really don't give a crap and to get out or I'd call the police. We have mutual friends and he's told them a completely different story because 2 have texted me asking how could I do that to him, and I really don't care to clear it up. In the moment I didn't feel bad, but now I kind of do because that's his hobby, but I was so hurt and betrayed by what he did. He's even called me a few times saying he'll get me another and we can work on things and don't throw away 3 years over a mistake, but I am completely disgusted by him. Update. I want to say thank you to all the people who told me not to give up on finding my bear, because I went out in that dumpster for 3 hours with my sister, my best friend, and even a neighbor came down to help when I told him what happened. And I found it. I am so relieved and beyond happy. Also, I love all the men calling me crazy and he dodged a bullet and I committed a crime and he should call the police, take me to court as if he didn't go into my personal space and throw away my property because he didn't like my property in my personal space. He's lucky that's all I did and I didn't sue him for it. Men are telling me I committed a crime, as if he didn't, that I'm crazy for destroying his things, but he isn't. That I'm immature for being upset that he threw the last thing I have of my grandmother out. But he can buy replicas of the same Harry Potter Lego set until the day he dies if he wants to. But I'm the worst person to ever walk this planet. It's insane. Anyway, I found it. He's air drying. I'm going to sew the button in over the weekend. My dad and brother will be here while he comes to get his stuff, and that's that. I'm free of someone who doesn't respect my space or how I feel. Oh, and I didn't come here to ask if I was in butthole. I don't care if I was lol. Now that I found my bear, I really don't care and can't wait to have my apartment to myself again. Oh, one more thing, I did tell our mutual friends what he did. I took a picture of all of us digging through the trash to find my bear. I took a picture of the bear and the state he was in after I found him and told them, thank you for taking his side and not even trying to figure out the full situation. He threw away my property, so I took away his hobby. I also sent the texts of him begging me to take him back and admitted what he did. How he watched me cry for hours while I looked for it knowing he threw it out. He watched me be distressed and didn't care. Those friends have texted me saying he said I cheated on him and when he didn't take me back I went crazy. Next story. My parents won't attend my wedding. Short story. At 24F, I find myself in a heartbreaking situation. My parents won't be at my wedding. The reason? I refuse to invite their friends, I'll call them the Scots, who made my life a living hell during the year I lived in their guest house. From false accusations to disrespecting my fiancé, things reached a breaking point. Fast forward to wedding planning, and the Scots became a point of contention. When I stood firm on not inviting them, it led to a family fallout. Despite my attempts to mend things, my parents are boycotting the wedding. Long story. In 2021, fresh out of college, I moved to a new state for a job. Facing high rent, the Scots, family friends of my parents, offered me their guest house for a mere $300 a month. Little did I know, this seemingly sweet deal would lead to a year of turmoil. The Scots, longtime friends and business partners of my parents, had 3 kids. As soon as I settled in, the Scots became excessively involved in my personal life, particularly my relationship. The situation took a dark turn as they fabricated scenarios to my parents, accusing me of promiscuity, rarely being home, and even planning to secretly move in with my boyfriend. Their disdain for my boyfriend was palpable, treating him with passive aggression, condescension, and even making derogatory comments about him being adopted. The interference escalated with family meetings where they labeled me as a poor influence on their teenage daughter, criticizing my boyfriend whom they had met only 3 times. And I have to add, my BF and I don't drink or smoke and both have careers. My BF is a perfectly good man and was always respectful to them despite their poor treatment. The dad of the Scott family went to the extent of sharing his marriage problems and lack of a sex life, blurring the boundaries of landlord-tenant inappropriate relationships. The breaking point came when the fridge in the guest house broke, and they insisted I foot the bill for a $900 replacement. Their influence over my parents was significant, as my parents rarely had my back and sided with the Scots, constantly belittling my boyfriend without reason. By the end of 2022,
I decided to move out with some girlfriends of mine,
leaving without saying goodbye to avoid further confrontation. Fast forward to the summer of 2023, my boyfriend and I were living together in a new state, and he proposed. To my surprise, when he asked my parents for their blessings, they were supportive and enthusiastic. My parents were even flown out to witness our engagement. As we delved into wedding planning in the fall of 2023, my fiancé's parents generously offered to finance the wedding. Strangely, my mother declined involvement in the planning, claiming she hated it. Despite repeated invitations from myself and my future mother-in-law, she insisted we handle everything on our own, a departure from the typical involvement of the mother of the bride. My mill did fly my mom out to NY for wedding dress shopping, which was fun, but my mother insisted on the trip that this was all she wanted to do. Winter 2023 brought a text from my dad, urging me to invite the Scotts. I respectfully declined, citing the distress it would cause me on our special day. This refusal triggered a nuclear war within the family. My parents, adamant about the Scotts' inclusion, declared they wouldn't attend the wedding. My dad accused me of starting my happy life by destroying his, and my mother uninvited me to Christmas. In attempts to salvage the situation, I apologized and tried to explain my decision. However, my parents were unreceptive, hurling insults and baseless accusations claiming my side of the family has been canceled. My mother then flipped the scripted and threatened to expose details on social media of my disrespect to the family if I didn't show up for Christmas. Despite exchanging Christmas and birthday greetings via text, I've not spoken to them about the situation. The pain of their absence and the harsh words lingers as I approach my wedding day. I'm confused, I'm guilty, I'm in pain. The fallout, all because I refuse to invite the Scotts. Edit. We are having a destination wedding and the festivities will begin 3 days prior to the wedding. So if caved in and invited the Scotts, I would have to endure up to 4 days of them. I don't want to walk around the resort and turn around and have to see them and instantly get into a bad mood. Also, I am afraid if my parents decide to show up without the Scotts that they will cause drama. Update. Context from my original post. At 24F, I find myself in a heartbreaking situation. My parents won't be at my wedding. The reason? I refuse to invite their friends. Update. I woke up this morning to a bunch of texts from my mother. She demanded that I end my engagement, cancel the wedding, quit my job, and move back to their home. She started saying things like, "I know you're unhappy. It's okay. You tried. Now it's time to come home. You have some maturing you need to do." This irks me so much. My parents literally gave their blessings for my marriage 6 months ago. Now they want me to change my entire life because they're mad they didn't get their way. I responded and said this is my life, and if they don't want to respect my decisions, that's on them. But I am in utter shock. I am financially independent of my family. I have a great job, loving partner. How do parents come up with this crap? Update 2. Long story. 3 months have passed since my parents declined attending my wedding. Initially, I found peace and acceptance, looking forward to celebrating with those who would be present and knowing my parents wouldn't be there to ruin it. However, a text from my younger brother 19M shattered that peace, revealing that our parents threatened to kick him out of the house and abandon him financially if he attends my wedding. This utterly crushed me. I am so close with my brothers and I love them dearly. I have 3 brothers aged 19, 22, and 27. While my older brother lives independently, my 2 younger siblings still live with our parents. Despite my parents' decision to not come to the wedding, I told my brothers how badly I want them to attend, assuring them of my support. After their shared support, I booked their travel, optimistic about their participation. I was naive to believe our parents would accept this decision. Their subsequent outbursts targeted my brothers, leveraging financial threats to dissuade them from attending, claiming they are betraying the family by supporting me. I offered to financially assist my brothers if they still want to attend, knowing they'd get kicked out, but I realized the difficulty of abandoning familiarity. In response to this outburst, my brothers called me and proposed an intervention, aiming to address broader familial issues, aka the bigger picture of my parents being abusive. I tried my best to explain this was a bad idea, I pleaded. Despite my reservations, I supported them via phone call. I felt I was bound by sibling loyalty. Yesterday's call confirmed my fears. Amidst vile accusations, I endured personal attacks, ranging from insults against my fiancée to baseless critiques of our life choices. My father's tirade, marked by verbal abuse, culminated in a cruel dismissal of my feelings. Here are a few notes I took during the 2-hour intervention. My fiancé is not an intellectual because he likes to snowboard and doesn't know how to have intellectual conversations. 2. My fiancé doesn't have royal or noble blood and therefore cannot have intelligent children. 3. It was rude for my fiancé to not bring flowers or wine when he flew from another state for the day to ask for my hand in marriage. 4. My decision to change my job and move to a new state with my fiancé is a manipulation tactic. 5. My dad said calling people names and insults is the right thing to do when you're mad. 6. My dad said by my decision to change my career path is stupid and I am cutting him out of his life. 7. Thinks my fiancé's job as a salesman makes him a loser. 8. My parents are mad I never offered to invite my uncle that I haven't seen in 13 years who lives in Russia. Literal what the F moment for me. 9. My dad says my relationship is wrong and he's not happy about it. Says it would be smart to break up. 10. My dad says he regrets not punching my fiancée in the face when he asked for his blessings and says it will haunt him for the rest of his life that he didn't punch him. Says the only reason he gave his blessings was to not hurt my feelings. 11. Says my fiancé's parents are mean for not responding to their texts. 12. Called my fiancé's mom a bad woman. 13. Said everyone at my engagement party is unintellectual and a redneck, and that they were shocked at the crowd I've decided to live around. 14. The last minute of the call consisted of my dad screaming at the top of his lungs that I am stupid, an idiot, dumb, and a bad woman. I started hysterically crying at this point. I felt like a little girl again. 15. He called me a liar when I explained all the horrible things his friends did to me and why I didn't want to invite them to the wedding. He even called me a liar when I explained that his friend 70M would try to talk about his sex life with me. 16. Crying, I explained to my dad, I just wish you cared about my feelings too because I am also really hurt and just want you to understand my perspective. He said, why the F should I care about your feelings? You don't respect me, my friends, or my values. F your feelings, you stupid bad woman. I ended the call right there. After the call, my brothers said they will still be attending my wedding because this has become an issue of standing up to my father's unacceptable behavior. Despite my brothers' attempts at defense, we were outmatched by our father's narcissism. Enduring the call was agonizing, yet crucial for my siblings to witness his true nature. Gaslit and invalidated, I feel so dehumanized. I never thought I would someday block my parents. Today marks day 1 of going no contact. Update 3. I got married on Friday, a day filled with joy, yet marked by the absence of my parents and 2 of my brothers. I made the decision to cut off contact with my parents last month, a choice that has since been affirmed, as you'll soon understand. Despite the absence of my 2 younger brothers, my older brother stood by me, walking me down the aisle. This unexpected turn of events brought us closer than ever, a silver lining among all the drama and heartbreak. My wedding day was pure magic, absolutely no drama or stress. It was truly the best day of my life, and I have never felt so much love for my husband. My husband literally makes all my anxiety disappear. Of course, there were fleeting moments of vulnerability, tears shed in private to my husband as emotions overwhelmed me. Yet, despite the ache of my brother's absence and lapses of guilt over my parents, the week was nothing short of perfection. I am truly blessed. The day after the ceremony, over breakfast with my husband and older brother, I learned that my parents had been incessantly trying to reach out to my brother. My bro and husband shielded this information from me to not upset me during the week. However, my curiosity got the better of me, and I insisted on asking my brother to see what my parents said to him. What I read shook me to the core. My brother texted, "She will never forgive you for this, and our entire family will never be the same." Her response, "Forgive us? She betrayed the family. She has gone completely insane. This sinister family has completely changed her values, and they have been grooming her for 3 years. She is making a huge mistake by marrying. Glad you guys are so close again." Sinister family being my in-laws. My mother's venomous words confirmed what I had been grappling with, their belief in their distorted reality. The guilt I had been carrying evaporated in an instant. I realized that my overwhelming happiness with my husband would never be enough for them. I refused to be held hostage by their misery any longer. You cannot change someone who just wants to be miserable for the rest of their lives. Here's where things become laughable. I blocked the Scott's wife on Instagram so she wouldn't see my wedding photos. Mr. Connor Scott in response sent a giant text accusing me of being abusive to his wife and children, despite not having seen or spoken to them in over a year. He then said that he will no longer support me, and if I get a divorce, he won't be there for me. I promptly blocked him, refusing to entertain such a stupid message. I thought he was blocked already. I am excited to start this new chapter in my life, and I am thankful for the support and courage this Reddit community has given me. Here's to a future free from the toxic grip of my past. I hope you guys like this video. If you did, make sure like, comment, share, and subscribe the channel James Stories.